Hello YouTube, this is my first review for 2019. I know it's been quite some time. I've already explained why I've been gone. I'm not going to dilly-dally this, let's get straight into the review. I have here a glass of fizzy iced tea, citrus flavour. It says citrus but it's just lemon. Alright, I'm going to review today a movie that should have been good. A movie that looked promising. A movie that could have made adult comic book movies more mainstream and could have been very, very good. However, this is not the case of this movie. I'm going to review today 2019's Hellboy reboot. Okay, I have here the 4K copy. I've got my notepad beside me, my notes. I'm just going to talk about what I thought about the film and do an honest review. So let's start off. So, first of all, I want to talk about my relationship with the franchise. So, I can't remember how old I was. I want to guess maybe 8, maybe 7, something like that. I watched the original Hellboy when I was a kid. I wasn't supposed to, mind you. It was late at night and I turned the TV on and the original Hellboy was playing, done by Guillermo del Toro with Ron Perlman. And I watched it, and as a kid, with my imagination being so broad and fascinated by things that were just like crazy stuff like that, and all CGI and the practical effects, and that really, really interested me as a kid. As a kid, I was just dumbfounded about how real it was and like how amazing it was. And I guess that was the first real mature movie I got to watch as a kid. The only other one I can think of that I watched was Harry Potter, the first Harry Potter. Not that that's a mature film, but for a young kid it is. And I remember it scared the shit out of me, especially the troll scene with the big troll in the bathroom. And basically that sparked a bit of an obsession with Hellboy when I was a kid. Not quite an obsession, but definitely fascination. I did watch that movie quite a few times. And I didn't watch the second one until I was a lot older. I think I watched the second one when I was about 13, maybe 12. And I remember thinking, the second one was definitely a bit of a letdown. Not necessarily because of the acting. The acting was fine, but I found the plot was inadequate compared to the first one. It wasn't enough. And considering they were planning a third one, that was cancelled, which is really a shame because Ron Perlman is a brilliant actor who deserved to have his chance to be Hellboy once again. It was a shame to see that the second one was nowhere near as good. Now, some people disagree. Some people love the second one, but I just can't get into it. I thought that the whole plot was a bit of a mess. I just didn't enjoy it. Mainly because the antagonists, I didn't find any interest in them, whilst the first one had the Nazi scientist, that guy with the blade hands, he was really cool, and also that the wizard guy and like the giant freaking monster stuff like that. They were awesome, really cool, really cool. The second one didn't do it for me, and at the time I just went, Hellboy, oh well. And at the time, obviously, there was no news of a remake. So now, here we are in 2019 with a remake. And I've got to say that I was super, super excited for this. I was really looking forward to seeing it. And let's just continue with the review. Let's just go on. All right, so Ron Perlman to David Harbour. Who is better? Now, I just want to say beforehand that I haven't seen many of Ron Perlman's films. I've seen him in Sons of Anarchy. I've seen him in the Fantastic Beasts movie. I've seen a lot of him. Hellboy is the big one that I know of him. I haven't seen a lot of his films. I want to watch more of them because I know he's a good actor. I've seen him in other projects and stuff. Like I've seen him in little things. I think I've seen him in a few video games as well. I know he's in Batman the Animated Series. He voices Clayface, which is pretty cool. And That stuff's good. I'm not very up to date with all his films. I haven't seen them all. I've seen some of them. David Harbour, who plays Hellboy in this film, the new one, the reboot, is from Stranger Things, and I love Stranger Things. I love season 1. I love season 2. Started watching season 3, but that's for a different video, maybe. Maybe I'll do an update video. Talk about the shows I've watched, and we'll talk about that later. But anyway, David Harbour, when I heard he was cast as Hellboy, I thought, oh wow, that's a perfect actor. Like, I couldn't think of a better actor to take over the mantle of Hellboy. I was like, oh, that's a brilliant idea. Casting David Harbour as Hellboy. He's a good actor. Got that really grittiness about him. He's got that no bullshit sense about him. He's also funny. His character in Stranger Things. Can't quite think of him at the moment. He's the cop. I can't remember his name. But he's brilliant. I love that character. And so when I heard, I thought, wow, that's really good. He could be a brilliant person to take over from Ron Perlman. And Ron Perlman's better, okay? Everyone agrees that Ron Perlman was a better Hellboy. And this is because I feel that David Harbour's Hellboy was not developed enough. We will talk about that in the next segment more in the plot discussion. But when it comes down to it, Ron Perlman had a much better time with Hellboy. I think that he was brilliant. He is Hellboy. No one else can be Hellboy. So sorry, David, that's the truth. Now, moving on to the plot. So the plot apparently is focused more on the comics, whilst the original movies are more of Guillermo del Toro's take on the comic. It was fairly accurate, but they had some other stuff into it. Like those giant tentacle monsters from the first film are all its own creation. More of a Lovecraftian style of influence into those movies. Whilst this one is pretty much a direct adaptation of the comics, including with the villains, the characters, and stuff like that. I haven't read the comics, so I can't really comment. The comics I don't know a lot about. I haven't read them, but I know that they're very beloved by its community and fan base. So yeah, that's it. The plot focuses on Hellboy finding out that he was saved basically to be a weapon. He confronts his father, who's played by Ian McShane, who you might know from the show Deadwood, and also the show Lovegood. Also Pirates of the Caribbean. He plays Blackbeard. Brilliant actor. Also American Gods. Stunning show. I'm going to do a video on that as well, American Gods, because I love American Gods. Moving on. So it turns out that the father was supposed to kill him, execute him. And Hellboy obviously doesn't take it very well, and is starting to realise that they are going around killing all these monsters, but in fact they shouldn't have to, and that they only do it because people are afraid of them. Excuse me, oh my god. I'm just going to be back in a second. I'm just going to take a quick little break. Focus a little bit. My head's getting a bit muddled up. Sorry about that. That's a little break. As I haven't done this in a year, I am not used to it at all, and sometimes I had to take a little break. Over. Anyway, so I was talking about the plot, and so Hellboy then gets informed through various situations. I'm not going to break down the whole plot, but basically in the long run, Hellboy finds out that there is an ancient witch called Nimue the Blood Queen. Nimue started a plague back in the Middle Ages during King Arthur's reign that almost wiped out the whole entire Britain and possibly the whole world. King Arthur and his Knights of Camelot defeated her, and they cut her up, cut her arms off, legs off, her head off. And they sealed them in holy boxes across Britain in sacred places with magic that could not be opened and only opened by a person of the Holy Church. So this pig monster fairy thing, which is kind of funny, he's a very funny character, very goes on a quest to recover the body pieces so that he can rebuild Nimue and make it come back so she can rule Britain and basically wipe it out of the plague. So it's basically, it's a very basic plot. Bad guy wants to destroy the world, got to stop him, blah, blah, blah. But there are some nice details. I liked Ian McShane's portrayal of the Doctor from, I can't remember his name, the Professor, who was played by, what's his name? I'm going to have to Google the actor's name quickly. Hang on. The Professor is on her, rest in peace. And I thought Ian McShane's portrayal of the character was very different to the one that John Hurt played. John Hurt played more of a kindly father figure who is more of a scientific kind of person, whilst Ian McShane's portrayal is very badass, monster hunter, very brutal, quite upfront, and doesn't fuck around with when it comes to raising Hellboy. So very different portrayals, but I enjoy both for their own reasons. Ian McShane is a very, very good and capable actor. I love him in John Wick. I've seen a lot of his movies, but I love him in pretty much every role I've seen him in. So he's a good actor. I have no problem with him. Now, Nimue was played by, let's have a look here. Nimue was played by, hold on, wait for me for a second. I'm just going to find the cast. Mila Jovovich. She, of course, is known for being in the Resident Evil film series. Love them or hate them, I hate them because they are cheesy, they are disrespectful to the source material, and they are just terrible. Now, in saying that, I don't like her as an actress. I think she's rubbish. But this is the best role I've seen her in yet, and that's saying something because she has a very, very small part in this movie. I know, right? The villain's barely in the movie. Anyway. She's quite good in this movie. She doesn't fuck about. She's there. She does what she's supposed to do, and she does it well. It's definitely it's a cheesy villain. Like she's just a violent, evil person. Doesn't really explain why she wants to destroy the world, but she just does. I think it's on the lines that she wants monsters to be free. Like goblins and fairies and ghosts and spirits and ghouls and werewolves. She wants them to be free out in the world like they used to be back in the Middle Ages, but of course they can't be because they eat people, and well, that's causing a lot of problems for us human beings. And I thought her part of the movie was fine. So yeah, the best role I've seen her yet. I haven't seen over Bruce Willis. What's it called? That one that everyone says is her best movie. The Fifth Element. I haven't actually seen that. I haven't seen The Fifth Element. I know, don't crucify me, but I haven't seen it. I don't really want to show much interest into it, but I probably will watch it just for curiosity's sake. Anyway, long story short, they end up defeating her, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. If you want to watch it yourself, just watch it yourself. But I'm not really going to do into an in-depth plot discussion. But, yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good villain there, not bad. Yeah, the plot's pretty basic, pretty boring at some points. I found in the halfway mark, it got really boring. The first half of the movie is pretty good. The second half is a bit smooth. And a really weird thing that I saw was that they made Merlin Irish? I mean, they don't really discuss in the tales of what ethnicity bloody Merlin is, but I just thought it was such a strange choice for a casting to make Merlin Irish. I thought, how strange. Anyway, now we'll talk about CGI. So, I know on the CGI, most of it is brilliant. It's not cheap. It looks good. I want to have a look at the budget for this film. Let's have a look at the budget. Right, budget for this film, $40.8 million. So, no, that's the box office. Oh, the budget was $50 million. Okay. Oh, wow, it made $10 million under its budget. Oh, anyway, whatever. For its budget, it definitely did pretty well with the CGI effects. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. The gore was cool. I did notice, however, some of the bigger monsters in the film, especially at the end with the demons rising up from hell. I thought that was pretty weak. I thought that the CGI was failing there, and there are definitely some scenes where it heavily relied on CGI, which is where I'm going to bring a big comparison to another film, another comic book movie from the DC universe that I have reviewed in the past. Suicide Squad, right? These movies are very, very similar. I'm thinking, but Kale, how are they similar? How is a M movie similar to an R18 movie, right? One's got super gore in it, the other one doesn't. Well, my friends, shut up and listen, and I'll tell you. Both movies heavily rely on CGI. Both movies have a villain that heavily relies on CGI. Both movies are cheesy, right? When I read information about the film, they were going for more of like a Deadpool vibe, more of a very mature but also very violent, gruesome, gritty kind of humorous film. And that's what they were doing for Hellboy 2019 reboot, sorry. And they failed horribly with this. I was watching the movie and the one-liners and puns were shockingly bad. I was like, oh, the cringe. The cringe was horrible. And I just could not, for the life of me, just sit there. It was really hard to watch. It took me about 40 minutes to actually start enjoying the film. The first 40 minutes of the film was just cringy. There were cringe bits in it. And see, it's like Suicide Squad. This is how I describe Hellboy. It's so bad, it's good. Okay? Hellboy, if you go into Hellboy expecting a gritty reboot of the first one, don't bother because it's not. It's gruesome, yes. It's more adulterated, yes. But is it gritty? No. It's cheesy. It's ultra violent, and if you enjoy ultra violent cheesy films, you might get a kick out of this. But I was watching it, and I had to admit that this was cheesy to the point where it was not enjoyable. So, is it a good film? Not really. Suicide Squad, at least, I enjoy Suicide Squad because Margot Robbie's performance as Harley Quinn is brilliant. I think one of the big reasons this film failed is because I read that there was a lot of conflict behind the screen, like with the director, there were breakdowns, there were all kinds of issues on set. They refilmed it a couple of times, edited it and stuff like that, and changed things up. The script was being changed, which is a similar problem that Suicide Squad had, because as we know, Suicide Squad had 3 different versions of the film, and one version of the film was mostly about the Joker. One of the film, we don't know what the second one was, but anyway, the last one that we got was the version that we saw, and it was terrible. But it was okay. Now that I've watched it more, I can accept the movie for what it is. But Hellboy is not one of those films. It is quite bad, in fact. I'll be back in a second. Hellboy is not like Suicide Squad in the fact that Suicide Squad is entertaining whilst Hellboy is a bit of a drag. Hellboy, the more I think about it, the more I remember how much of a strain it was to watch. It took me 2 nights to finish it. I actually ended up pausing it and I watched it later on next day. And it's just a nightmare. It's not a good movie. Yeah. So it is similar to Suicide Squad, that it heavily relies on CGI, but it's not as good as Suicide Squad. So I should tell you something, because Suicide Squad's pretty fucking bad. Alright, so now, big problem that I'm not sure if any other reviewers picked up on. They might have. I haven't watched many reviews for Hellboy, but I have watched a few. Is that the trailer showed way too much of the film. They showed parts from the final conflict in the trailer. They showed off bits from the beginning, the middle, and near the end. It's ridiculous. They showed basically all of the best scenes from the movie in the trailer. It's a 2-hour film, right? And those best scenes are segments from the best scenes in the movie, and they put them in the trailer to get people excited, which is, of course, is good marketing. However, it was a terrible idea, because when I watched it, I knew what was going to happen. I knew there were fight scenes of giants. I knew there were going to be giant demons at the end. I knew there was going to be a dragon. It's ridiculous, right? And it's crazy that they would do that. And that also happened with Suicide Squad. They put way too much in the trailer. And it annoys me because they are ruining what could have been a good film by putting too much in the trailer. However, it turned out to be shit anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Alright? That's a big problem with the film. The trailer showed way too much. Now, here is something I'm going to discuss that most people agree on. Reboots. Rebooting a film is very risky. If the film has an already established fan base, which Hellboy does, always very risky. When the fans heard that Hellboy was getting a reboot, no one wanted it. Everyone's like, oh, Ron Perlman's not involved, so they can't do it, which is essentially true because Ron Perlman is Hellboy. And people were not happy about it, and I can understand why. Me, on the other hand, I was like, oh, okay, I'll give the film a go. I will give it a go and make sure that it could be a decent film, which it could have been, but it's not. Terrible. But reboots are generally a very risky thing to do, and if you're going to do one, you need to be respectful to the original films or origins roots, and you need to make sure that you are prepared for backlash. $40 million is quite a small budget for a... Sorry, 50 million. Yeah, 50 million. $50 million is a small budget for a film, especially for a big AAA freaking, superhero movie, comic book movie. So let's have a look at the budget of Suicide Squad. I know that Suicide Squad was very financially successful. Wow, yeah. So the budget was 175 million US dollars, and it made back 746.8 million US dollars. That is phenomenal for a movie that was pretty crap. And Hellboy made $10 million under its budget, so it really did fail. They will not be making a sequel. And it is a failure of a movie. And reboots are very risky, and if you don't pay attention to what the fans want, which they could have done, like they were focusing on the comics, which they could have really made the fans happy. And from my knowledge of the Hellboy comics, I know that some of the stuff in the comics is present in the movie, which is good, which is what we want. But the way it was portrayed, the way Hellboy was portrayed, was rubbish. And I think it was underdeveloped. David Harbour's acting was not shown off to its extent. It should have been more. He was, I think, he seemed bored throughout the whole movie, and that's not a good thing. he just didn't seem connected to the role like Ron Perlman was. Ron Perlman gave his full frontal. He gave everything. He went in there, head on. He was ready for the role, and he did his best job, and that was amazing. That was back in 2004. This is 15 years later, and they fucked it up. A big thing I want to say is that if you are purchasing this film, I paid $40 Australian for this movie. I'm not sure how much it is in the US or other countries, but the 4K is brilliant. It looks stunning on my 4K player and 4K TV. Looks great. So that's a positive. But $40, it was not worth it. I wish I'd waited, but I couldn't wait. I just really wanted to see the movie, and I really wanted to see how bad it was. I thought, surely it's not as bad as reviewers say, but it was bad. Really, really bad. And yeah, reboots, not a good thing to do unless you are prepared for backlash, which this movie was clearly not, because they've cancelled the sequel, because they had plans for sequels. At the very end of the movie, they show Abe Sapien. They were going to have Abe Sapien. They show him in a tank. I was like, don't do this to me now. No, don't tease a sequel. I hate when movies tease a sequel and the sequel gets cancelled, which they've done, all right? They've cancelled the sequel because of how much a fucking failure it was, which is bullshit. That's over. Okay, to conclude, Hellboy is a reboot that needs another reboot, I think. Say in 10 years' time or more, they're trying to make a new Hellboy movie. Wipe the slate, try and do another one. I wish Guillermo del Toro would make Hellboy 3. I wish that Ron Perlman would, and I know Ron Perlman was very interested in doing Hellboy 3, and it was in development for quite some time. I think they even had a script for it, but it was cancelled. I'm not quite sure why. But yeah, to conclude, it's a reboot that needs another reboot, and it was crap. I give Hellboy 5 out of 10. It's got good CGI, good gore, humor is terrible, acting is lackluster, the villain is okay, the plot is average. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will be working on other reviews and other videos sometime in the future, not sure when, but thank you for watching and have a good day. Cheers. Please like and subscribe if you want.